everybody, and welcome to the Tree of Life, Astrology, and Tarot. My name is Debbie Cassidy, and I felt it necessary to do a post-election fallout video, just due to the fact that our energies are so intense right now. Something I talked about in my last video, expect the unexpected, and I do believe that most of us were surprised by our turnout with this last election. And that's because the media wanted us to believe what most of us believed. But that's okay. It's all due to this new age, this awakening that we're currently in. And I wanted to explain that a little bit so that I could possibly help you guys out in how we are absorbing this, how we're looking at this, and how to move forward from this. We, as you know, in my previous videos, we are sitting in a current age where we've got Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto entered Capricorn back in 2008, and lo and behold, what happened? Our financial institutions as we know them fell apart. That is what Pluto in Capricorn is all about. Pluto is that planet of deep transformation as a collective that affects all of us. And right now it's sitting in Capricorn, which rules our governmental institutions, our financial institutions, structures. And it is going to work on tearing down those old traditional ways of doing things so that we can let in the new. Because where is Pluto going once it exits Capricorn in about 8 years? Going into Aquarius. Aquarius is all about moving into the future, thinking outside of the box, doing things differently than we are doing now. And this also coincides with what we call the age of Aquarius. We're not quite there yet. Let's just say we're right in the cusp. We have been sitting in the age of Pisces for the last 2,000 years. And right now we're on the borderline. We're just about to cross over into the age of Aquarius. So it's what we call the cusp in astrology. You're right on the edge. And while we're sitting on the edge, we're still hanging on to all these old traditional ways of doing things in the sign of Pisces, but yet we're starting to already see some of the new things coming in as we start to move into the age of Aquarius. Take, for example, back in the millennium, we started to see cell phones, the internet, what we call now the age of communication, lots of technology. And that's what Aquarius is about, is moving into the future. So with all of these different aspects coming down on us, we are at a very pivotal point. We are at that halfway point. Pluto is currently sitting halfway in Capricorn. So the last 8 years, we have seen a lot of this transformation already starting to happen. And we were at that pivotal point, critical point, right at election day. And another little planet called Mars was also sitting in Capricorn. So it was giving that extra push. And just as we were starting to close our polls on election day, Mars flipped over into Aquarius. And I talked about this in my last video as well. So we have all this energy moving from governmental structures and rules and boundaries, and now it's moving over into a completely different energy, into Aquarius. Mars from Capricorn over into Aquarius. Good grief. So this is actually a relief time for us, where we can relax a little bit. The decisions have been made regarding this election, and now we've got Mars moving into Aquarius, which is all about seeing off into the future, bringing down some of those boundaries, looking at things in a new way, hopefully also to find our higher spiritual selves. However, we also have Uranus currently sitting in Aries. Uranus, that planet of the unexpected, sitting in a very fiery sign like Aries, gives it that much more energy, that much more punch. And we also have the Sun still in Scorpio. We're still under the influence of Scorpio. And Scorpio is all about bringing about the truth, pulling it to the surface, facing our fears, and dealing with our fears. And I can honestly say that now that this decision has been made, what we're seeing now is post-election fallout. Lots of people dealing with fears that don't really exist. So let me explain that a little bit. since we have had the influence of Pisces, we are kind of sitting in like a delusionary time right now. Pisces is kind of dreamy. Neptune is currently sitting in Pisces. Neptune is our dreamy planet, sitting in Pisces, which is the 12th house. It's all about our higher selves, our higher thinking, our spirituality. And sometimes it can put us in kind of a delusional type of state. For example, with all this media hype that we have had, for this past year, if not before, they have led us to believe a story. We are believing stories about Hillary, for example, and what she represents. And we're believing stories about Trump and what he believes and what we can expect. And honestly, we really don't know these two people at all. Unless we live with them every day, and they're there pouring our coffee for us in the morning, we really don't know these people. We only know what that media, that illusion is leading us to believe. So we have to rise above that. And that was my primary reason for wanting to put this video out now, before I come out with my next video for your forecast for this coming week. Because I want to help you guys reach a higher plane, see it from the back end, so that you can get a view of what this whole picture is about. We are in an age of transformation, like it or not. And I've said this before. We're going to see changes, whether we want them or not. The universe is going to force them on us. At this particular point, this exact point, back in 1776, we had these same exact planetary alignments. And what happened? We signed the Declaration of Independence, and we had a Revolutionary War. Huge transformation, huge cultural change. And that's exactly what we're in the middle of right now. And what did the universe do? They dropped someone like Mr. Trump into this position as president because he was the most unlikely person that we probably would have voted for. But we as a collective, most of us, can see this change that needs to happen. Most people believe that if we had Hillary in place, it would be more of the same. And the universe is saying, no. We're putting Trump in there because we need to change. It's going to force this change. And it's exactly what the people did. They voted from their heart and voted this person in who is going to be completely different from anything we saw before. Just like President Lincoln. Almost the same exact alignments for that as well. Lincoln was not liked when he went into office. In fact, everyone thought he was a little weird. Same thing that's going on here. But yet when Lincoln went into office, look at all the fantastic, great changes that happened while he was president. And I just want to tell you guys, despite any of the fear that you may have, it's not the end of the world. We are at a point where these changes are going to happen. And we can either fight it and not release these fears and say to ourselves, it's the end of the world, it's the end of the United States as we know it, it's the end of everything we have, and it's not. That's an illusion. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of people coming to our country. I mean, there's some people with fears that they think they're going to get deported now that he's in office. That's not the case. These are all just fears, illusionary fears that we have currently. And that's not what's going to happen. That's not our reality. That's coming. But I can tell you, over the next couple of weeks, these energies are so intense, as we can see right now with the protests in the streets, like it's going to do us any good. The decision's been made. We either can accept it, find a way to move up to a higher level and unify as a people and move forward and start accepting these changes for what they are. Because in the long run, the universe has nothing but goodness for us as a people. It wants what's good for us. And a lot of times we have to accept change that makes us feel very uncomfortable. We have to face our fears and drop them off, or we're going to end up stuck. And I can tell you, in 2 years from now, we're going to see some of the biggest, most revolutionary changes we have ever seen. You think this was a big change that we just went through during this election? This just scrapes the surface of what we're about to see. And why is that? Pluto is now going towards the back end of Capricorn. And whenever they get towards the end of a sign, which in about 8 years it will be, but we're right there in that middle. And as it starts to move to the end of Capricorn, things get more and more intense, which means transformations are they're going to become more and more every day. So you can either learn to accept that kind of transformation and not fear it, and learn to ride with it, think outside of the box currently while we have an Aquarian influence, and move with the changes, because they're going to happen whether we want them to or not, and it's all for the good of the people. It may mean tearing down what we currently have, what we're currently used to, what we're traditionally doing, but I can tell you right now, all the old traditions that we have had over the last 200 years are going away. And we're seeing it in our everyday lives. We're seeing old traditions disappearing and being replaced by new ones, better ones that serve us better in where we're at right now. So I wanted to come out here and just help you guys out a little bit, try and give you a more overall view of what's happening to us as a collective. Those of us in the spiritual world see this coming, we see it happening, we have the ability to read the astrology and figure out that we are all in this together, and this can be a joyful time. We can embrace these changes because it's just going to bring goodness for us, and we have to move ourselves to that higher level, accept each other for who we are, accept these changes, unify together, and let's move forward. Let's make this a good thing. Mr. Trump being president for the next 4 years, hopefully, if he makes it that long, doesn't really affect us deeply in our everyday lives. So we have to learn to detach ourselves from all this media, all this hype, all this garbage that's being thrown at us. I mean, it's just coming at us from all ends, and it's making us tense. A lot of people depressed. And we have a tendency to look at the low side of things rather than looking at what's ahead and what's above and what's coming at us, which is so much better than where we were. And the sooner we realize that and we relax with that and allow these changes to come to us, the sooner we're going to find our higher selves, our higher vibration as a collective. And over these next few years, as we get closer to our age of Aquarius and we start to see the technology moving in on us at high speed and all these other technological events happening, medical breakthroughs, scientific breakthroughs coming, it's an exciting time for us. So just wanted to give you a little perspective from my end as an astrologer that everything that has happened over these past couple of weeks, I saw it coming. I knew this was coming, knew that something unexpected from what all of us thought was going to happen has happened. It's here. And it's our pivotal point. And I just can tell you, I'm so excited to see what's going to be happening over these next couple of years. And of course, I'll be keeping you up to date week by week as these planetary aspects starts moving around. The positive thing is we've got a couple more weeks of the super intense energy. However, we've got 3 planets that are moving into different signs almost all at once within a 2-week period, and that's going to completely shift our energy from where we've been. And you're going to find that these intense, serious energies are going to start to ease off a little bit, and we'll be able to relax a little bit as a collective, as a group. So just wanted to put that out there and let you guys know it's not the end of the world. In fact, there's really good things coming. It's just hard for some of us to adjust to change. But whatever you do, don't let this media and all this negativity suck you in. Don't let your energies be sucked in by that. Instead, focus your energies on yourselves, how you can become a higher spiritual self, and what you can do for mankind to make this world a better place. Meanwhile, I wish all of you lots of love and life. Take a deep, deep breath and be kind to one another. Namaste.